Welcome to another episode of Tuesday Talks. I'm Iftikhar Ahmed, the host of Tuesday Talks and the editor of Abir Pothi. In Tuesday Talks, we delve into art, bringing together experts, enthusiasts, artists, curators, educators, and individuals deeply engaged in art and culture in any capacity. Today, I'm thrilled to have Raki Nikahetia with us on Abir Pothi. Raki is a multidisciplinary artist working and traversing between New Delhi, London, Vienna, and Colombo. He's the co-founder of SA Ladakh. SA, meaning soil in Ladakh, is Asia's highest ever contemporary land art group exhibition at 3,600 meters, focusing on the themes of mountains, environment, culture, and community. The first edition took place recently at the Disco Valley in Leh Ladakh from 1st to 23rd August 2023. Now let's dive into our conversation with Raki Nikahetia and learn more about the innovative journey of SA Ladakh and his perspectives on art, sustainability, and community engagement. Hello, Raki. Welcome to Abir Pothi, and thank you so much for giving out time. And tell us, how are you?
Thank you very much for having me today. Really appreciate you reaching out and taking time in chatting. Doing well. Just came back from Ladakh, back to Delhi. Good to be back, but also missing the mountains already.
Firstly, congratulations on the successful completion of the SA Ladakh exhibition. Looking back, what are some of the most memorable moments or highlights from this pioneering initiative? Could you just share with us?
Thank you so much. So I think there were two main things which have been like very sort of memorable and like very different. The first thing was, I think, working in a community, which has been the main thing of making this initiative, I think, be heard or like being recognized by people. It has been the community engagement, especially with the friends and supporters in Ladakh, which made it realizable, from the crash pad team led by Jami Tensing, the collaboration with Sagadeep Singh, who are two of the co-founders, but also the wider engagement with like Ladakh Arts and Media, Dr. Monisha Ahmed, who has been like a crucial part in not only curating, but also getting the artists from Ladakh on board. And then especially, I think, the engagement also with Local Futures and other partners like the different embassies from Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. But one of the things which really in memory and in mind, I think, is the engagement with the children, which we had. So that kept us going. It's not easy to work on like 3,600 meters, and especially to like set up a whole show. But it has been so rejuvenating almost to work with the different schools and the students who've been like extremely curious and had a big passion for the land, and also I think what we try to do.
So, as a co-founder, what were your initial aspirations and goal when you embarked on this journey of creating SA Ladakh? And also, how do you feel these goals have been fulfilled?
I think our goals were like very, very simple. We had 20 acres of land, and we wanted to do a land art show, bringing together artists who reflect on climate change. We wanted to do something positive about like the climate in terms of what we can do to contribute something. I think we had like our KPIs in terms of what we wanted to do were very, very small, and it was I think for us the main thing what this initiative is a proof of concept. So I think that it has met. It's a viable concept, and I think it's something which we can replicate in the years to come, perhaps not only in India but also in other spaces. We learned a lot about community engagement, how to deal with the community, how to work with community, and also I think the aspects of integrating education and students has been very exciting, and that would be, I think, like one of the main milestones which showed that there's a bit of a proof in the pudding.
Supporting local artists was a core objective of SA Ladakh, I read. And how do you perceive the impact of this exhibition on participating artists and the broader art scene in Ladakh?
I think we didn't expect this feedback, especially from international magazines, which were covering the exhibition, which has been very exciting, especially for the young Ladakhi artists having access to like a wider audience, I think. And that was the whole idea of it. So we had artists who were in art lingo well established, and younger artists who were just starting off, and they were mainly Ladakhi artists, but also established Ladakhi artists. But there was the idea of get rid of glass ceilings, which you often see in the contemporary art world, and have a dialogue. So we saw like senior artists working together with the junior artists. There were discussions going on, and everybody sort of sharing that same canvas of 20 acres to create something together and like to work towards a common goal or common vision together. So I think that has been very exciting. And then also, as said, the support from Dr. Monish Ahmed and the Ladakh Arts and Media Organization, which has been, I think, the crucial part in setting off or establishing the contemporary art scene in Ladakh. Their support was really crucial. So I think through that we gained not only the access but also the trust with the Ladakhi artists in working with us and being part of a bit of a crazy idea, and being open-minded to a bit of craziness and like realizing something which is probably out of the comfort zone, especially working in like the harsh conditions of the outer sort of outside space in Ladakh.
Could you provide examples of how the exhibition elevated and showcased the talents of local artists, fostering a sense of cultural identity and pride within the community?
There were different aspects of it. I think it was the young artists, especially, who were quite open-minded and quite experimental with their installations. So we left a very wide spectrum open. So we wanted to go away from the model of commissioned works to the model of like creating, where we establish whatever they need to create, because sometimes with commissioned works it's just like a goal and you deliver, and with the possibility to like do whatever you want with material which are discarded, renewable, or recycled, you open up a different realm. So that was our engaging point, I think, and they also got very engulfed in it. There was an initial proposal with sort of a brief for old artists, but then it evolved, and we wanted to keep that flexibility, because then you only through that flexibility can really engage with the landscapes and create land art which is thoughtful and not only dreamt up in paper, but there are certain conditions like harsh weather. There has been like floods during the period, so rainfall, then there's very strong sun. So there's different aspects of it you need to consider in your work. Do you want that your work dissolves after a while, or do you want to maintain it for a longer while so it can be reused for another purpose? There's different aspects you need to think about, and it's about also how to engage with our environment and with limited resources you have.
So the use of discarded, renewable and reusable materials in site-specific art installation, it was a remarkable aspect of SA Ladakh. And in that context, how did the approach resonate with the visitors and contribute to the exhibition's message on sustainability?
I think perhaps one example was of Disco Valley. And Disco Valley Bike Park basically turned over a public space which was littered with discarded like plastic bottles and beer bottles, because Disco Valley, as the name goes, you can imagine what happened there before. So people used to come to party there. And they came there and changed it into like a community-driven park, where they cleaned up the whole area from plastic bottles, and now there's schools coming to learn cycling and so on. So it changed the aspect of the space, and they're also doing work like with permaculture, which is good for that sort of particular area to like make maximum use of an area while leaving sort of the landscapes intact. So working with Gyatso, he did a work called Kick Off Plastics, where he collected, together with Local Futures, who is one of the local partners, 10,000 plastic bottles, and he left them sort of exposed in his like construction. And a kicker of plastic is a kicker itself in mountain biking is something where you jump off. So it's like a ramp, and he created that, and he left the plastic bottles out. And while asking why he did that in terms of like leaving the plastic bottles out, he said like it's basically to reflect on our daily consumption of plastic. And again, with the exhibition, we are not trying to like tell people, oh, you're doing something wrong, because all of us are, however good we think we are in terms of like climate change and climate optimism, there's certain things we can improve. So the exhibition is just a thing, especially for children, to take away climate anxiety and replace it with climate optimism, that there's certain aspects of it. Yes, this is the situation right now, but we can do something towards it together, like individuals, but also like companies and bigger players in the field. So Gyatso's work was like quite interesting in that kind of context. Another work was from Vibha Galotra. She did a big installation called You Don't Own Me, which has a reflection on like ownership and landscapes, which also was like very, very interesting for lots of viewers. And people asked like, what's going to happen with all, she did the works with like discarded textiles, which would have ended up in a landfill. And for example, those clothes will be reused. So that will go into a workshop space, which was supported by Germany, who through their support, we created like a whole workshop space with the crash pad. And that will come into the roof as a cover. So different works will be reused. Some will have a purpose to reflect. So there are different aspects of it. Whereas other works, like from Skarma Sonam Tashi, we just posted something about his work today on our Instagram feed. His work was done completely out of paper mache, just like found papers which had like limited, like a sand mandala, and will not exist anymore in a couple of months.
So also, can you tell me like who were the audience, and were they art enthusiasts or the local people, and how did you assess them?
So when we started the show, we had honestly no clue who will come apart from the students and people who we knew are interested in arts. So we just wanted to do something to, talk about the current changes in the climate, but also engage through land art, something which we all were like really fascinated about. And then the response was quite extraordinary, I would say, and not a bit overwhelming, because we didn't expect it in that kind of way. So the people who came were not only people who were interested in the arts, but also tourists who were interested in like seeing what's going to happen. And there was then these dialogues happened in terms of asking more about people, like what the climate change situation is in Ladakh, which is very much linked to also something which we do with other partners internationally. So climate change is not only happening in Ladakh, of course, but also the same things are happening in the Alps in high altitude climates. So we did this like dialogue, and these dialogues then just like evolved into other discussions, which are still ongoing, which has been very exciting. Then, so there were like random people coming. Then people coming specifically for different events, which were like the film nights or the workshops. Then the engagement with the students, as said, has been very interesting. So we also got from them like lessons learned, what they want to have for next time, which things they would like to learn, and so on and so forth. But then also, of course, of international media, which then looked at the concept and the project, on how it worked, and I think what we want to take forward. So I think ultimately we will do like a lessons learned to see what worked and what we want to like keep on going, what we should improve. So this should be also something we want to continue doing. So coming back to your question, I think it was like a nice experience, unexpected that there was so much interest. So we want to get also the opinions of different people to like understand on how we can like take it forward.
Yeah. So you've also played with technology, like you have used cutting edge technology, video projections that added, innovative dimensions to the exhibition. So could you tell us like how it impacted the overall experience and engagement with the artwork?
So we had different mediums, as you said, like physical, then virtual, and then projected works like films and projection mapping, for example, through artists like Philip Frank. And then through our partner Plug TV, they got in touch with Snapchat to also access a different generation, perhaps uh, artist language, no? So it's basically trying to figure out different types of languages to engage and access different kinds of people. And the next generation, through Plug TV support, Tamsil Hussain, who's like leading Plug TV, he suggested to like collaborate with Snapchat, and they did different um, AR lenses with some of the artists to engage the audience in the digital world as well, in a digital realm. So that was quite interesting for us as well. Now we're going to see what are the different models which work the best, because what we don't want to do is as well is to attract more and more tourism through, like, already there's quite a lot of tourism happening, but we want to also engage tourists, that there's mindful tourism, no matter what background they are, who are visiting, to show that there's sort of a type of mindful tourism. So you can't prevent mass tourism, but you can like sort of support people to understand, if you enter a different space, what are the different behaviors you should think about, how to like engage with the environment, how to be more responsible. So these sort of things can be done. So we want to like engage also a different audience, the next generation, with this new media, and it has been very exciting and very interesting to do so. Especially, I think also highlight was like Philip Frank's projection mapping into that sort of vast landscapes, and seeing
Yes.
films in, not on widescreen, but on like blank huge rock. So there was like a very different feeling for lots of people, including myself. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what are other particular moving stories or experiences shared by visitors that highlight the positive influence of SA Ladakh?
I think there were lots of different memories. I mean, we are just back, and it will take, I think, another few weeks to like really process what happened. We had like
Okay,
floods
you're
going on
still
during that
still on
period, right?
the yes, that's true.
The
You're still in the
processing of
mountains,
this.
and it will
But we
take
had like,
yes.
exactly, we had like different things and hurdles going on. But I mean, quite frankly, out of working in different areas, not only in art, but in different other backgrounds, from like things with like conservation and like international development, different things, I never had such an experience, I think, working with close to 80 people without any fallouts, without any like, anger or complications. It has been such a, not always smooth ride, but it has been so much about problem solving. And somebody said once,
Yes.
if everybody is like doing something because of love, there will be more understanding. And so this was the first time I think experienced that in that kind of sense. And I also learned quite a bit from the co-founders, like especially from Jamie Tengsing, on like how he was like leading his teams in a very organic and very productive and positive way. And then also working with Sagadeep Singh, who was always like, problem solving oriented. When I said like I'm not sure on how to do it, he said like, oh, no worries, we're going to get it done. And so there was like a very positive environment constantly going on, especially also with the support of like Dr. Manisha Ahmed, who was also like very positive and supportive, and all the other people who were like engaged. Also the artists particularly, who were very open to our crazy ideas and realizing these sort of things. And I think in terms of particular memories, I think there's two, and they relate to the schools. One was, we went to Likir with the kids out, so we saw land art not only as some artworks in land or on land, but we saw it more on how we engage with the landscape. So we went also with the children, most of them from the city, from Leh, into Likir, which is outside of Leh, which is like a rural area, to see traditional farming practices. And that was sort of like a really beautiful day. and the farm was led by Sonam Angmo, who is a pioneer in like sustainable farming. She's a microbiologist, but then took over a family farm and is doing amazing projects supporting the local community, and with the children we could experience from harvesting to like rural farming to like where your food comes from, traditional ways of like cooking. And the kids didn't want to leave that day because it was just so engaging and memorable for all of us. When you remember your school time, you might not always remember all the classes you went to, but you might remember the school trips you attended, and they will have an imprint on your memory. So this was something which was like quite emotional and really beautiful. And then the kids had also like a very close bond with the team. And during another workshop, we were doing some pottery with artist Tundup Chirpan, who did like a beautiful pottery class. And one of the participants, who was from Georgia, who was a climber from Georgia, he was also like joining the school class and doing it. And he sat down next to me and he said, like, you know what, these children will never forget this day. And that was really nice, because that was the same kind of memory we wanted to get as well. You know, when I was little, my dad used to always, and this is a story I was like telling, why we are engaging kids not just with theory but with practical things. So when I was little, my dad was taking me into the garden. I grew up in Sri Lanka, and instead of buying different toys, he used to play this like memory game where he collected different leaves, and in the evening after work, he was coming back from the uni, and he was like showed me these leaves, and I had to identify them. And the next morning, he used to go out and suggest if I'm right or wrong. And perhaps through that, I have a very close attachment to nature. And it's a very simple thing, and that we thought as well might be very interesting for the kids. You know, you can tell them not to like throw away plastics or reduce or reuse or all this sort of things, which is essential. But once you start loving something, you actually care. So once you understand your landscapes and like how rare and how important, especially the Himalayan landscape is, but whatever, even in Delhi, the Aravalli range, whatever it might be, that there's a different appreciation and love there, which is quite nice. So like that was one of the two memories which resonated, but there are many more.
Wonderful. So I'll get back to the fundamental question. So what the climate change is like in Ladakh?
You can experience it very much now. So we went with Simon Schäfer and Sebastian Fuchs, who are from the German and Swiss embassy, to meet being at SA Ladakh. And she said, on the same question what you just asked, in terms of how is climate change impacting, the principal from the Islamia public school, who was very engaging and like a very, very charismatic, amazing principal. A lot of us said like we wished we would have a principal like that when you were growing up. So she said that back in the day you were teaching, you shouldn't throw away plastics, so like there might be increase in temperature and so on, but you don't really think about it. You just like talk and you share it with people, and it's a fact. And now you can actually experience it. So climate change is really there, and you can experience it, and we experience it ourselves. So when we were there now in August, it was really warm and hot. So like 27 degrees was like sort of the norm. There was severe floods, like whole of Leh got flooded after like a cloud burst, which is not a common thing. And there were multiple cloud bursts. Then so like what you can see is when we have in the lowlands an increase of 1.5 degrees, in that height above 3,000 meters, it's 2 to 3 degrees. So it's basically a snapshot into our own future. And it's already happening there. So it's very drastic. The climate looks very erratic, changing very quickly. So you can experience it very, very much there.
All right, Raki. So is there anything I'm missing out and you would like to add on to the conversation?
I think that's pretty much it. I mean, if you have any questions, please do let me know.
Thank you, Raki, for sharing your insights and experiences regarding the remarkable journey of SA Ladakh. Your perspective on the intersection of art, sustainability, and community engagement is truly enlightening. As we conclude our conversation, it's evident that SA Ladakh's impact has been profound, fostering dialogue, inspiring changes, and leaving a lasting legacy in the realms of culture and environment. To our listeners, thank you for joining us on the insightful episode of Tuesday Talk. Stay tuned for more enriching discussions as we continue to explore the diverse facets of art and culture. Until next time.